1983, when video games looked like this, Dragon's Lair, another video game, looked like this.
You control the actions of a daring adventurer finding his way through the castle of a dark wizard.
Featuring animation by a Land Before Time animator and man who was kicked out of Disney for tampering with the thermostat, Don Bluth. Dragon's Lair was essentially nothing but quick-time events that are in every other game today. But to have hand-drawn animation in a game in 1983 was just next level and still is. There were sequels, spiritual successors, and a few weird ports here and there. But nothing has been really done with Dragon's Lair since all those years ago, while Don Bluth retired from animation in 2000 after, you know. Things were quiet until 2015 when Don Bluth himself created an Indiegogo for Dragon's Lair, the movie.
Oh, I'll tell you what they've been saying online and in emails to us. Please make this a movie. It's our favorite title.
We're going to make a movie.
That's
what we're going to make a movie. We're determined that's going to happen.
It was to be the return of 2D theatrical animation while earning over $700,000 in donations. The funding was successful, but here's the fine print if you donated. You weren't funding a movie, you were funding a pitch reel to encourage investors to put money into a full film that would cost way more. $700K ain't nothing for animation, especially at this quality. All that was made was a 5-minute pitch reel shown to backers and investors. This was to be a prequel showing the characters from their kid years to adulthood, and I assume this hypothetical movie would have ended seconds before where the video game started.
Don Bluth Films brings you Dirk the Daring, the bravest knight ever known.
Dragon's Lair, the movie, was shown around Hollywood only to gain little progression, especially when CG is the norm. But then came Roy Lee, a film producer for Vertigo Entertainment. He's funded the Lego Movie, It 2017, The Ring 2002, Netflix's Death Note, a bunch of stuff. After a year of negotiations, Don Bluth, Roy Lee, and a few other key people settled on a live-action Netflix film starring Ryan Reynolds. Well, Ryan is helping produce the movie, but they don't specify if he's actually going to play Dirk Daring. And that's where many people are confused. Not the Ryan Reynolds part. This influential game, known for its 2D animation and crowdfunding with the promise of 2D, ends up as live action. Personally, I'm kind of disappointed in Netflix. They have been one of the strongest producers of animation of so much variety. You got a spiritual sequel to heavy metal, action cartoons for both adults and kids, sitcoms that changed how adult animation is done, one of the best adaptations of Dr. Seuss with animation and voices that cost $6 million per episode, and lastly, Klaus, a 2D animated film that elevates the medium. Netflix has done so much good for animation, yet here they're doing live action. It's just weird. But then again, if it was 2D in this style, it would not look as good as those old cell animations. The movement's great, but maybe it's the clean coloring that gives off a direct-to-video Disney vibe. It's a pitch, and I'm sure the real thing would have looked even better, but that don't matter. Let's worry about the live action film that really is happening, unless it gets canceled or whatever. I actually see promise in this. Hear me out. I'd imagine Netflix giving it the choose-your-own-adventure treatment. They've done it before, like with Black Mirror's Bandersnatch, which is where I'd like to stick it. That, or I'm expecting it to be like that Tom Cruise movie, I forget the name, but I remember the tagline, live, die, and repeat. Oh wait, Edge of Tomorrow, that's where it's just a guy dying over and over again till he gets things right. I guess I can picture Ryan Reynolds being snarky in that role each time he dies. While Dirk barely had a voice or personality in the games, the 2D pitch reel showed Dirk to be a snarky, immature character that Ryan would be perfect for.
That man you see in your dreams, he looks like me. Come on, admit it.
I'm sure there'll be people who will compare this to the Lion King remake or something, but think about this. That was just the same beat-for-beat story as the original. The Dragon's Lair game is 10 minutes long? Huh, I always thought it was longer. They actually have the freedom to make a whole new story without just being a remake. It can be its own film while maybe incorporating familiar scenarios or camera shots.
Save me!
The games themselves have been remade with totally new playstyles that incorporate elements from the original, kinda like Dragon's Lair 3D that turns the game into an action platformer with similar sequences. It's a franchise that has experimented a lot already. I feel if this upcoming Netflix movie wasn't attached to the Indiegogo funding or revival of 2D, it would have been seen in a more favorable light. Video game movies have been doing better. People liked Ryan Reynolds in Detective Pikachu, Sonic's movie was fun, and I actually liked Rampage. While this seems like a step back for 2D, maybe it's a step forward for video game movies. Plus, Netflix is still doing a lot for animation. I'm okay with losing this 2D adaptation when they just made an original 2D film with Claws and a great 2D adaptation with Green Eggs and Ham. Maybe this will be good. Or maybe it'll be shit and this video will be even more dated.
The most advanced video game you can play is awaiting your discovery at Showbiz Pizza Place. The princess is held captive, and only the brave knight, Dirk the Daring, can save her. With sophisticated laserdisc animation, you'll move Dirk through the innumerable dangers of the enchanted castle to rescue the beautiful princess. Dragon's Lair, the supreme adventure in video games, brand new at Showbiz Pizza Place.
This holiday, Buddha Man, Yoda Man.